think that's like, it just helps people to realize, you know what, he's not looking out for himself, he's looking out for me, you know? And so, like I said, I've gotten referrals from
Have you heard the expression, I'm sure, people?
That what?
Have you heard the expression, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. You know, so like I said before, like even people that I was not able to help, I think just they appreciate the time that I took with them, and they appreciate the fact that I showed them, you know, what nobody bothered to take the time to do. Even those people are on my side. They're in my ring corner. If they hear somebody talk about mortgages, they're like, go talk to Arturo. You know, people don't realize that your referral sources don't just have to be closed loans. Even people that you weren't able to close or didn't get pre-qualified, if you took the time and you built that trust, they will send you people, because everybody knows somebody, and somebody that wants to be a homeowner. So even the people you can't help end up being a good referral source.
Sure, because they want. Here's another thing about referrals, which I love being really on top of referral game and information. If I tell you about some amazing Italian restaurant, you think I'm really hooked in. People raise their social standing, right? I mean, you would go. So if I say, listen, in your town, this place open, or if I tell you that, I mean, I didn't see Maverick, but I saw Jurassic Park. I was like, Arturo, it is crazy good. My kids loved it. You know, you say, wait, that's a great. So you look like you know maybe about some software, or you know about like a vacation spot. Oh, go to this place. It's really secret. No one knows. People raise their social standing by having a great referral that, you know, I'm not a zero. I'm pretty hooked in. I'm pretty aware of things, and I'm sharing with you because I think you're worth it. I think you can find some value. So people use referrals. I know I do. I try to refer people, put them in the right place. So it helps them, but also it helps your social standing because you're not a clueless loser. You know, you really can offer them something. I mean, people come to New York and I tell them what to do and skip some of the tourist stuff and where to go. And it's like, wow, that was so much better than the normal coming to it. You know, I don't know anything about, let's say, Dallas or Boston, but I would love some great suggestions.
Yeah, no, I mean, for sure. Like everybody, you know, the referral thing is such a powerful, what do you call it? It's a testament, right? It's a powerful testament to who you are. If somebody trusts you enough to refer them to their friends and family, you know, so making that impression on everybody is one of the biggest things. And again, I'll say it again, I do that through education. It's just teaching people and taking the time to explain those things. That I get this all the time. Nobody's ever told me that. Nobody's ever explained this the way you have. You know, so I get that time and time again. I'm like, well, then it must be working, right? Because that's, like I said, I trained employees, I trained people. I've just always had that teacher mentality. Well, a good mentor of mine when I was in the car business told me, he goes, don't be afraid to teach people what you know. He goes, in the car, and this is probably more in the car business, but I'm sure it could be applied more. Sometimes people are afraid to teach you what they know, to give you their knowledge, because they are afraid that you are going to then take their position, right? You're going to then take their job. Right. And then the car business is like cat, dog eat dog. So I had a mentor that said, you know what, I'll teach you everything I know. I don't have a problem. I'll teach you what I know, this and that. He goes, because hopefully you do take my job. Hopefully you do take my job so that I can take the next step and take the other position ahead of me.
True.
And ever since then, it's just, I just had that mentality. I was like, if you want to learn what I know, let's go. Right. Like I'll teach you. I have no fear of teaching people what I do, letting people know how I do things or anything like that. Like I love teaching and training people. So I've taken that from my past years of experience, and that's what I've applied to the mortgage with the consumers. It's like, I will, you know, teach you how this works, because it's not just click button, get mortgage. It's trust. It's a lot more complicated than
sure. And of course you never would try to hold back knowledge from a client, because it shows that you're the authority. You have a great command of the information, and that you're interested and they have all the information so they can make the right choices.
I'd say 90.38% of the time, people just truly appreciate the amount of time that I spend and like to educate them, to teach them the things, not because they want to get into mortgages, right? They just want to buy a home, but it's letting them know the whys and hows Why are we at this purchase price? Why do I need this much money in reserves? Why do I need that? It's taking that time that I think that's what people just really appreciate, because I get it time and time again. Nobody's explained it this way, and I'm glad. I love the feedback. And it leads to some amazing Google reviews, which again, building trust. That's another thing. I always try to get a Google review from my consumers, because I've gotten deals where, and every now and then you buy leads, right? It might not be a warm referral, so you purchase a lead for somebody trying to refinance or buy. And I've had them where like I'm going up against maybe like an online company, like I think people for better.com, right? Those online mortgage companies. So they probably had a lower rate, they probably had better pricing, but she called me back, that consumer called me back, said, you know what? I'm going to go with you because I saw your reviews online. I saw what people are saying about you. I seen the people you've already helped, and I see what they say, and I'm going to go with you. I don't even care about the other company.
Mm-hmm.
So that is, not pro tip. I think everybody should do it. Always ask for reviews, right, from your consumers. But here's the other thing: how many people ask for reviews from the agents, both the buyer's agent and the listing agent, right? Why not get a review from them? Every transaction you close, you probably have an opportunity for 5 reviews, not just the consumers. You got listing agent, buyer's agent, and you got an escrow officer that you worked with.
Everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you don't ask, then you're not going to get it. So what's the worst that can happen?
I mean, I want to tell you that people should realize that the individual that runs the real estate industry is the listing agent, because they guide the seller who to pick, and that involves you and the buyer's agent. So I have recently been across when someone says, oh, I'm with Wells Fargo, I don't want to deal with it. When someone says I'm with better.com, I don't want to deal with it. I just, I'm old and I have so much experience, and I'm not afraid to tell, listen, if Arturo's on the call, I can pick up the phone and say, Arturo, what is up with this person? You can't do that with these other places. So you have to, with those Google reviews, with a good reputation, with the fact that I can text you at 7:00 at night and get a real answer, that's when your client loves you, and you can deliver some results like that. And you stand out in your market just by being present and willing to be responsible and accountable.
Absolutely.
Right. But my point is that is being attacked, because there's no money going into you. There's no money going into me. There's money going into Rocket and Better and these entities, because the millennials don't want to even talk to someone as helpful as you. They want to play on their phone with one more app and make it as contact averse. And if you notice, there's not a lot of 25-year-olds doing this thing. We really are day to day being less emphasized.
Yeah, and that's where something like what you're doing is so important. Because you're introducing, like you said, it says meet who we should know, right? So again, that's just back to what you're doing.
Sure.
I think what you're doing is great, because that's what you're doing. It's not so much. I mean, it's very similar to belly to belly, right? Belly to belly business is how this was done. And still very much is. But we saw that change a lot with COVID, right, where everything was shut down. So I think that almost as a nation, like we've kind of migrated into that digital era, whether we wanted to or not. We were kind of forced into it. But things are.
We were forced, but
right.
Yeah, I was saying this. I'm sorry, we're noises.
I know. Go ahead.
Yeah, good, Arturo. Let me hear what you're thinking.
I was going to say, things are opening back up, so now we're seeing more of what do you call it? Like a little bit of both worlds, right? Like we're able to do the belly to belly business. You can set up those meetings in person, but we have so much technology now that it's a hybrid world now. It's not just belly to belly, and you can't. My personal opinion, I don't think you can just pick one, right? I think in the era that we're in is you got to do that hybrid. You have to still keep that the person communication, but you also, such as what you're doing is virtual, right? It's that hybrid model. So you're still meeting people, even though it's on Facebook. You're not face to face per se. I think you and I are face to face right now.
We are. And you know what? I'm glad you.
That.
I was just saying this today that yes, COVID, especially in the states up north here, were forced us to do this, but this led to a general acceptance of this type of contacts. So people can have. I mean, here's what I found: when I see people in person, I bet you will be the exact same person that I've seen on Facebook and in conferences online. It never fails me. The people I talk to are the same in real life. They're showing you who they are. They really are. So we're in a hybrid, and even though it's so much better for you and I to have a handshake and have a beer and chit chat, but we can't do that every day, no matter what. No matter what. I have friends of mine in town that I've seen 3 times this year, but we text all the time. I don't love it, but it's too much benefit. You can't wait for belly to belly. It's got to happen today.
Yeah. I mean, that's come on. That's what the business was built on. Really, it's belly to belly relationships. But again, things change and we have to adapt. And again, my personal opinion is I think you have to have a hybrid now. Do something like this, like what you're doing.
Yeah, well, you're doing it too. You have to offer value.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a funny point you made, because it used to be. I was thinking this the other day. I was thinking, wait a minute. I got on Facebook about 2010, and not even really. I look. If you've heard of the people, you go back to your earliest posts, you're cringing like that sounded so stupid and so lame. Have you heard that? Have you seen? I know I did. I couldn't believe how ridiculous.
Yeah,
so
I go back to myself. I'm like, what?
So let's go back to, I call it really 2014. So I was in this business 16 years before Facebook. And I tell you what, I was happier because all of business, I had a flip phone. That's it. That means you had to call people to meet out or in offices, dress nice every day. And I love people so much. I was the happiest. That's the truth. And I said, everyone, I mean, imagine the entire industry or an entire nation that just says, forget all the other stuff. We're going to just social media. We're trying to, use the whole internet to bring it to me. And I know a real estate agent in a certain neighborhood, she would just cook for people. She'd say, I'm making dinner, come over. She was doing 50, 60 deals a year. She was a great cook. She had everyone cooking and all the daughters. It was like an open house. And how are you not going to give her the listing when she's feeding you Italian food constantly?
Right. But you know what? That goes back to what I said, advertising rights, right? It's seeing that message over and over and over and over again, and it's not going to click on your head until you need those services. So just like radio ads and TV commercials, everything that we do, we have to put ourselves out there. And don't worry about how many likes you get or how many comments. The thing is to be consistent, put that stuff out there, put yourself out there, whether it's not just social media, but there's mail, there's all kinds of stuff you can do. You can do local community events, hosting this, hosting that. The point is that when the more people see you and see what you do, you never know when that person might have followed you for 6 months or seen what you're doing for a year, never reached out to you. But guess what? When that need arises and now that person is a situation that, oh man, I need some cash out, right? Or man, I got to buy a house. They're going to remember the person that they've been seeing, right? That's when they're going to say, you know what? I need to call out to them.
No doubt. And on top of that, here's what I say on top of that. If I'm a consumer and I see Arturo and it's 6 months, it's a year, that's great. But what happens when I say, wow, to my neighbor, you know Arturo? Wow. Oh, if you know him, you're cool. That's like an endorsement. So I think it's so fantastic, the mutual friends thing, because that's validation that you're not really risking. If my friend thinks, like if Christine thinks you're awesome, I'm good. That's all I need. I don't need to. And by the way, I don't even look at reviews. I've never been on Yelp. I don't do any of that. I just believe what people do and how they are. I hate looking like that. But if we vet each other through some people we respect, I don't need anymore. And that's, I think, the older way of doing. But I mean, you don't need to anymore. You're just happy with what you've learned.
Yeah, yeah. And hey, shout out to Christine, man. She is awesome.
Shout out. I think Christine said one time about she and I knew each other in completely different roles. We met like 9 or whatever years ago and hung out in New Jersey and had sushi and we're laughing our brains out. And we basically didn't even talk about real estate the whole day. I think it was a rainy day in the winter. We just hung out and other people were coming and visiting. And it's hilarious but that's great. That's what's great about real estate because you could pick your colleagues and you could pick your clients.
Yeah, definitely a great industry.
It's powerful. So, Arturo, I mean, I know you feel the same way I do. You focus on education, and I think that's fantastic. I love to focus on giving people a voice because if your client-based education is important, but if you're referral-based, it's so good to let your locals who don't need the education, but they want the opportunity to promote their business. And we're dealing in a desert. Lenders don't give agents a place to promote their business, and people don't give locals the chance to promote their business. Everyone wants to be local famous. Everyone wants to meet who we should know. And you know what? You're already on Facebook, so why not carve out a slice of it, make it yours? If you invite me over for July 4th for a barbecue, I feel special. I feel honored. I feel that you complimented me. So it makes sense to invite people that you would like to work with.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's fun. Well, what's the best way to reach you and get in touch with you, Arturo?
I mean, you can find me across all social media, but honestly, text message 602-549-9239.